Okay, Adam Wadley, who do you have sitting next to you?
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam Wadley, and I'm here speaking today with Aviva, who works with the Mud Builders of Atlanta. Hi, Aviva.
Hey, Isle 5. So great to meet you in person, Brian. I've been listening to your show for a while now, so I'm honored.
Cool.
And thank you, Adam.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show, Aviva. I've been to one of your mud building workshops. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about what you do, why build in mud?
There are so many reasons to build out of mud. It's one of the things I'm just the most passionate about, and it's so much fun to do. I'm basically am always looking for a way to be kinder to our earth and also to be kinder to myself by surrounding myself with nature as opposed to chemicals and toxins. So when I found out that it was just kind of one of those clicks of reconnecting to my soul that, well, actually 75% of the world uses the earth to build as opposed to materials that they ship in and cut down, like our forests and whatnot. And that it's a very viable way to build a house. It doesn't have to be like this mud hut that you might picture. It can actually look just like a modern house, have AC, have electricity, have plumbing, except the walls are a mass of earth. My favorite is cob, which is a combination of sand, clay, and straw, and some water that basically hardens into a stone-like material. And a really exciting addition to the earth and building movement is building with hemp hurd, which basically petrifies with lime putty over time, creating a stone-like substance as well. So these are breathable walls, so you get more oxygen when you're inside, and you get more sensory stimulation, which is really important for us as humans. So they've got NDD on the books right now in the psychiatric journal, which is nature deficit disorder. And it's literally, some doctors prescribe you to take a walk in the woods because they know how powerful it is for healing. So that's how I feel about an earthen house, and there's it's a solution for chemically sensitive children as well, and some autistic children. They seem to thrive in an earthen house as opposed to the houses that have all the chemicals and toxins.
You were saying something about sensory stimulation having to do with the material. I didn't quite understand what you were getting at there.
Well, you might have experienced at the workshop that you came to. Did you took your shoes off and and played in the mud? And so, what was your experience like, sensorily?
Oh well, I mean, certainly. I was just confused. I thought you meant once it was all put together. But if you're talking about like the process of going through making it, then for sure, it's obviously a much different experience than just, I don't know, buying something, I guess, or paying somebody else to put together some materials for you.
Yeah, it's definitely that, but also what you experience while you build it is similar to what you experience when you actually look at the wall and touch the wall in that sense, which is, I think it's alive. I think it has an energy. I think, just like when you pick up a stone and you think, oh, this is a special stone just for me, I'm going to put it in my pocket. It's going to give me good luck. Have you ever done something like that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's because, it has an energy and it speaks to you. And so the same thing with a cob wall that has all of nature's energy intact, not refined, not processed. Mm-hmm. It can speak to you. It's just one way.
But it's not just shelters or houses, or I don't know, it fits into the same thing. But there are other structures. In particular, you're working on a rocket stove project right now. Like, can you tell, like, what is that, and what are other things that you can make out of cob?
That's another example of a renewable energy structure, and it's basically a heater for a greenhouse, is what we're making at the Wheat Street Garden. And Corwin May is leading the project. And I'm, leading the cob part of it. And basically the cob part of it is an earthen mass that you surround this metal duct with. And through the metal duct, the heat is getting shot into like a rocket from the little fire that you build at the opening. And so it's in there circulating, and it comes to an end, and so it just kind of gets trapped inside this huge structure of cob surrounding it, and the cob just absorbs all of the heat. And you put the fire out at the end of a freezing, day, night, which isn't too often in Atlanta, but it happens. And then the cob absorbed all that heat, so it just keeps radiating that heat all night long, even when there's no more fire in the oven, because a thermal mass absorbs the sun all day long. It's the same concept in a passive solar building. And then it takes temperature about an hour to travel an inch off of the earth or through the earth. So if you were burning the stove for 12 hours and then you put the fire out, then it'll radiate heat for 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
Something like that, yeah.
So, wow. Let me try and think. It was the stoves, cob. Well, in talking about these things, we sort of have to get over our consumerism, because it's like I want nice laminated floors or whatever it is. But then there's also a lot of legal obstacles to say building a house out of earth and living in it.
At the same point, it really feeds your desire for luxury, because if you look at things done with Tadillac plaster, which is the Venetian plaster, I mean, you can make the most gorgeous bathrooms with this very, developed technique where you can color it with your own mural, with your own tiles, and just make the most beautiful art, which is just absolutely gorgeous. So, it's not that it looks like, anyway, you get my point.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't mean to make it seem it was
no apology necessary.
That was worse. That was worse than. I'm just saying we're all used to not doing these things for ourselves and living in these prefabricated structures. That's all I meant to say.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So yeah, there is a lot of homogeny that happens with building codes, because it's just easier to just work within a system for your survival. So it definitely does take thinking out of the box and pursuing your dreams on a more idealistic or fantasy level to actually embark on these projects out of mud. It's like seeking to be more in harmony with nature. But for me, it's also seeking to be an individual, to express my individuality, to have that surrounded by me in my home, which we spend 75% of our time in. So it should be a very peaceful, stimulating experience to be inside of a building, and it can be.
Right. So you have, we've got about 5 minutes left. I want to say the date and time and information for your workshops twice. So we'll go ahead and do it now. Can you tell people when and where, or how they can stay in touch with you?
Absolutely. I'm actually headed to the Wheat Street Garden right after this. So if anyone wants to come over there, at 75 Hilliard Street, we are putting some plaster on the rocket stove for the next couple hours. And then this Saturday, with always a chance of rescheduling, we are there from 10 to 4, working more with the hemp herd and the lime, which is an amazing opportunity to see this material, because it was very hard to actually get a hold of, because it's still illegal to grow hemp in most parts of the world. So we were able, since the laws are changing, so I'm not sure exactly which state this is from, but I know Kentucky and Colorado and Vermont, they're all legally growing hemp now, so we're able to get a hold of the hemp herd from a company called Hemp Solutions, because, if you're not part of the solution, maybe you're part of the problem, right?
It's interesting here. There's a clear overlap between the I don't know, I don't want to say do it yourself, but the people making their own dwellings and having building materials, but also the marijuana prohibition, I don't know, legal saga and political and social shift that's happening in the country, because hemp, most people don't know, but hemp was used to build things for a long time, especially I don't know too much about it, but like ships' sails and stuff like that, which was obviously a big deal. But then it was illegalized and it became illegal to grow it. But we're sort of in the fight to reverse that, right?
Absolutely. And I'm not a very political person. I just have a lot of big dreams. And so I want to get to know our political leaders as individuals and trust that they want to be the leaders that they are, for our good. And so I encourage, y'all, if you want to come out this weekend, that would be amazing. If you want to come out today, if you want to invite your congressmen and your senators, even better, let them touch the hemp herd, let them know that this is not something you can smoke, this is something that is a viable resource for Georgia's economy and for the world's overall harmony with nature.
Yeah, you were letting me know that there's different strains. I wasn't aware of this. Like, I guess I sort of thought of it as like breeds of dogs because they could still cross-pollinate, but there's some that are good for the built like materials or the stem, and some are good for smoking.
Yeah, it is a lot new information for a lot of people. The hemp that is best for fuel, for example, is a different breed than the hemp that's good for rope, But you can use just about every part of the plant. So the hemp for hemp herd actually grows a little bit more like bamboo, like straight up. It has like a nice long stem. And the roots actually help to clean up our soil as well. It's called a mop crop, so it takes toxins out of the soil. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've just got about 40 seconds left. Is there anything on the tip of your mind that you'd like to share with our listening audience?
I could sing a song that we wrote. Corwin and our volunteer Caitlin and I wrote a song yesterday while we were building in the mud. One of the other reasons why mud building is so great.
Okay.
Sing while you work.
Please.
Okay, so it goes like this. It's really easy to follow along. It goes, clay, straw, and sand, mixed with your feet and made with your hands, building in harmony with the land, working as a team, creating all of our dreams. Mother Nature needs us to build naturally. Mother Nature needs us to build naturally. Mother Nature needs us to build naturally.
That was wonderful. So we've run a little bit over. Sorry about the next interview, but could you please just reiterate quickly when the next workshops will be?
Absolutely. We have a good Facebook presence as the Mud Builders of Atlanta. And you can find all the information there. And we are going to be at the Wheat Street Garden, which is part of Truly Living Well, 75 Hilliard Street in the Old 4th Ward. And I'll be there today from like 1:30 to 3. And this Saturday from 10 a.m. till 4. And I would love for you to be there, for you to contact me if you can't be at this one. And I'm teaching an earthen oven workshop, a pizza oven workshop, the weekend of May 10th. So there's more information about that too.
Okay. Well, thanks again so much for joining us today, Aviva. Are you trying to show?
I'm just showing you this hemp bird.
Oh, right of course. Holding the hemp in my hand.
We do have to move on.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I am wearing, as I always do, a belt made out of hemp. So I bought them at 7-On about 15 years ago. At any rate, thank you very much, Adam. That was our 3rd of 4 interviews.
Thank you, Brian.
And you're welcome, Aviva. Did we say your last name? How do we say it? Vuvuzela?
Yeah, on Facebook it's Vuvuzela.
Vuvuzela, okay. All right, we now have back again, welcoming back Abrima Ba, longtime food activist. Okay.